Hi everybody. March 8th is International Women's Day, an occasion to celebrate women's achievement, raise awareness against bias, and take action for equality. This year's theme, Choose to Challenge, made me think about the ways in which the women in my life challenged norms to change their lives and transform the lives of others. My grandmother on my father's side lived on a small farm in Kenya and was widowed just 6 weeks after getting married. She was left alone to raise my father and manage a small marginal farm during the Great Depression. With very little formal education herself and very limited resources, she was, nevertheless, determined that my father would receive a good education. My father recalls her making him sit at the kitchen table at night and by the light of a paraffin lamp read old copies of the Times of London newspaper from cover to cover. This was the way he learned English and about world affairs. She scrimped and she saved for years to send him to a top boarding school in Nairobi, a school usually reserved for the wealthy. He excelled there and went on to be the first in his family to attend university. He owes his fierce intelligence, determination, and drive to his mother. My grandmother on my mother's side was also passionate about education. At a time when children with developmental disabilities were considered beyond reach and were often institutionalized, she was determined to offer them and their families an alternative. In the 1960s, she established the very first school in the city for children with Down syndrome and other developmental disabilities. This provided families with the support that they needed, thus enabling them to keep their children at home. I will never forget her abiding patience, kindness, and love for her students, and their joy and laughter when I visited that school. She challenged societal norms and helped change lives for the better. And then there's my mother. She was the first in her family to attend university, but she dropped out after her first year to get married and support my father's career. Years later, while working full-time, she decided to get her degree through distance learning. She would come home after work, get dinner started, and then work on her studies. I know she was often exhausted, working, studying, and raising a family at the same time. It took her years to complete, but she persevered, and we both got our BAs in the same year. She is an inspiration to me. Here at Royal Roads, we benefit immeasurably from the contribution women make as students, staff, faculty, and associate faculty. I am so proud to say that at Royal Roads, 62% of our students and 69% of our faculty identify as female. And while 73% of our workforce is female, they constitute 78% of management and 62% of our executive and senior management ranks. While these are admirable numbers, there is still a lot of work to do to ensure that the contributions of women are properly celebrated and recognized. Also, our numbers do not reflect the situation for women in most places. Gender inequity remains a huge issue worldwide. 2/3 of the global illiterate population are women. Women face a 27% higher risk of severe food insecurity than men. 1 in 5 girls and women have experienced physical or sexual violence in the last 12 months. And given these numbers, it is not surprising that only 1 in 4 parliamentary seats are held by women worldwide. COVID has only exacerbated these inequities. Many women were forced to withdraw from the workforce or work from home while caring for children and elders, often unpaid work. Confined to home and often in close quarters, they experienced an increase in domestic violence, the so-called shadow pandemic. Shockingly, the United Nations estimates that 72% of healthcare workers infected with COVID-19 were women. The UN also reports that 47 million more women and girls were pushed into poverty as a result of the pandemic. So there's clearly a long way to go to reach gender equality, which is goal number 5 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. On this International Women's Day, let's commit to action and advocate for the kind of world we would like to see. I am putting my hand up high to say, I'm in. I hope you will join me. Thank you.